One. And we are live, everybody, on a Wednesday night, December of 2021. Comments rolling in right out of the gate. Tony Sanchez, good evening. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Tony. Hope you and your family
Tony.
did
Hope
too.
you and your family had one as well.
And our good friend from Pipe Bomb, Mr. Ricky Kenny. You could say his last name because I still can't say it.
I'm going to get you to say it right now. Lit.
Wink.
Oh.
Witch. Ricky Winkovic.
Ricky
Winkowich. I can't say it. But how are you tonight? Mr. Siciliano, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Hope the whole crew's ready to roll here.
Mm-hmm. And again, Mr. Sis, it was a pleasure having you for 2 days during Thanksgiving.
No, thank you for your hospitality. You and Mrs. Hoop, those couches are very comfortable to sleep with the TV on all night because I sleep in my bedroom with the TV on all night. I've been doing it for 30 years.
There you go. Mr. Rosen, Mr. Paul Rosen, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, and it's good to be back, and we're ready for the show tonight.
And I hope you and Luby and the fam also had a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. We did, and it was a pleasure having our family up
Nice.
in Florida.
And Mr. Kirkpatrick, and happy Thanksgiving to you. And I know you were upstairs with the boys and girls upstairs.
Some friends, and I went in to help the hospital out a little bit for a few hours in the overnight hours. So, my second family's there, and whenever they need help and I can help them out, I'll do it through these times, of course.
Okay.
But
Nice.
Paul is with us tonight, but Paul, as you can see, we're going to hold the show up tonight because I got something, and we're not starting the show until Kurt answers 3 questions.
Okay.
Mr. Siciliano, Mr. Rosen do not know about this, but Mr. Valenti, myself, and Mr. John Beelan had a little group chat going on Saturday. And I asked Kurt 3 questions, and he refused to answer them through the text. But in his defense, he was driving home from somewhere, so he may have overlooked the questions.
What was that?
Because
Because
these questions right now, they're about college football, and then we're going to get into Sis's mind.
By the way, Kenny, real quick, I am ready for my quick hitters. If you do want to start with my quick hitters, just so
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
You're gonna answer these 3 ransom questions first.
He don't want to
because we got
answer these questions on
we're
grounds
holding
of
you up right
intimidation.
now.
All right, here we go.
You had quoted, how many losses did you say Cincinnati would have in the SEC? Roughly 5?
At least 4. I'd have to look and
At
see.
least 4 or 5, right? Okay. How many would Oklahoma State have if they were in SEC? My first question.
1 less than if I say 4 with Cincinnati, I'm going to go 3 with Oklahoma State.
Okay, so that's fair. If you got okay, you passed question 1. Question 2.
Yes.
Has to do with smaller schools. Not going to mention names for protection of the school. Smaller non-public high school team played and beat a lot of the bigger New Jersey. This has played a lot of the bigger schools in non-public Group 1.
Yes.
Right? Or Group A. Why can't Cincinnati do it in college football?
Nobody's saying that they can't, but when state rankings come out, the number 2, they will not be the number 2 or number 3 or number 4 school. The schools with more losses will be ranked higher than that school.
Okay. And my last one is, you all have been quoted, this one's mostly you. You said, we all said Cincinnati hung with Georgia last year. 7 starters, you said, were out for Georgia. But Mr. Siciliano, Mr. Rosen, and myself, we're Giant fans. Mr. Aziz Ojulari played in that game and was the determining factor, second-round pick from Georgia, was the determining factor when Cincinnati's best offensive lineman, Hudson, got hurt. So in my opinion, Cincinnati had a good chance of beating Georgia. But if you're going to go with the 7 starters not opting out, you got to give Cincinnati's best player getting hurt.
Okay. Well, I will just say this and then I'll get off the subject, but I wish Joey Clams was on here tonight because I'm going to be all over Joey Clams tomorrow because Sis's Alabama is playing Georgia this week, correct? There's no if they're playing them, right? In the SEC championship, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The spread on that game is what? Do you know?
6.
6.5. It's around 6, right? Okay. I saw the other day, I don't know what Joey Clams is looking at, but I saw the other day, it said if it's Cincinnati and Georgia, it's 17 points. So 6 to 17. I'm sorry, a 17-point favorite? No. Vegas knows.
That was my ransom. We had to hold you up to answer those questions
Okay.
before we can get the show started. But let's do some quick hitters to get the pace going.
All right, here we go.
And then we'll go right into Sis's mind because I know it's on his mind tonight.
All right, I'm gonna go Sis, Paul, Kenny. That's gonna be my order. Here we go, Sis. The New York Mets made a humongous splash. Max Scherzer is now a Met. So DeGrom and Scherzer are the Mets World Series contenders, Sis. Yes or no?
No.
Paul.
I'm going to say guardedly, optimistically, yes.
Kenny?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, 4 of the teams were in playoff contention this year alone in the AL East, minus the Marlins. So, yes, I'm going to say they are World Series contenders.
All right.
With that move.
Question 2, Sis. Do the Yankees make a major move this offseason?
No, there's too many things that possibly that can come up. You might not even have a start of a season. So I don't think they're doing anything major yet.
Okay. Paul?
They won't right now, but would it shock me if they reached out and tried to sign Freddie Freeman? That would be a major, major move. And leave it to the Yankees to do something like that. But so I would say yes.
Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Agree. As soon as there's an agreement made, the Yankees are going to make a splash somewhere. If an agreement's made.
And let me just say one more thing to that. Don't think for a second that the apple falls far from the tree and Hal Steinbrenner isn't watching what the guys across town in Queens are doing right now.
Good point.
So, believe me, they're watching the back pages of all the newspapers.
All right. Little NBA, Sis. Who's the better ball, Lonzo or LaMelo?
I would say Lonzo.
Paul?
I'm going to agree. I think Lonzo.
Kenny?
I think I'm going to disagree. I think Melo's going to – I think he's there already, and I think he's just going to get better.
Okay. Tom Thibodeau, our big-time New York Knicks coach, made a major move the other day. He benched – not only did he take Kemba Walker out of the starting lineup, he took him out of the rotation. Sis, was that the correct move?
Absolutely 100%.
Paul?
Agree. And the veteran, he understands it, and I think it'll make him even better once he gets back into the rotation, which he will at some point. It's a long season.
Mr. Kirkpatrick?
I think it was a move that had to be made. Shake the team up and, look. I mean, we lost yesterday, but we were there and we had a good chance of beating those Nets yesterday. So it's the right move.
Duke last weekend defeated Gonzaga in a classic game. Duke last night got upset at Ohio State. Sis, right now, does Duke win it all in Coach K's final season?
I think that's questionable right now.
Paul?
They'll be there. I'm not ready to say on December 1st that they're going to win it all, but they'll be there. They'll be in the tournament, and I can see them getting down to the Final Four, Final 8.
Kenny K?
I know I was quoted saying Sweet 16 a few weeks ago. Well, I'm going to eat those words. I'm going to say ACC champs, at least an Elite 8. Hopefully a Final Four appearance for his last year.
Okay. Today, little football news. Adrian Peterson signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Sis, good move or no?
Again, I think he's over the hill.
Paul?
I don't think it's a good move. No.
I said that a few weeks ago when the Titans were interested in him. It's time to hang it up, AP. Move on.
Kenny.
Terrible move by the Seahawks. If they're in no contention, why? Why would a veteran, I know it's quicker, but why would a veteran that's on the verge of retirement, why not give a young kid a chance and see if there's something there?
All right, couple more. Sis, is Baker Mayfield a franchise quarterback?
Definitely not.
Paul?
I don't think so.
Kenny?
I'm on board with that. I don't think he is neither.
All right, Taysom Hill. He's pricey. He's a little gadget guy. Now he's the starting quarterback. They benched Trevor Siemian. I could have told you they were going to do that years ago. But Taysom Hill, sis, with this opportunity, does he deliver? And is he the quarterback of the future now going forward for the Saints?
He could deliver against the Cowboys. He could be a one-game wonder. Is he the future of the Saints? No, I don't think he is.
Paul?
No.
I don't think he is. I think if you go back and listen to the audio back in April or May after the draft, I told you guys the Saints drafted the former Notre Dame quarterback, Ian Book, and I said, I'm going to tell you this kid can play, and it wouldn't shock me by next year he's going to play and start for the Saints.
Guys, John Beelan, fellas, good evening. I need my licks versus Kurt tonight. LOL. Kenny, Taysom Hill, future of the Saints. Can he take this job, deliver, and run with this job going forward?
I would be more than shocked if he took this job over. He couldn't beat Jameis Winston out. He couldn't beat Trevor Siemian out.
All right.
Now the Saints are desperate, so they got to try and get a splash somewhere. But he is not definitely the future. No.
All right. Here's the question. And this is, I don't think it's wrong either way, but I got a little thing going with this, so I got to ask it. The two best defensive players in the NFL, and I mean these two guys are going to be stars. Sis, who's going to be the better pro? Micah Parsons, linebacker of the Cowboys, Pat Surtain, cornerback of my Denver Broncos?
Very, very, very tough question to answer, but I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go with the Penn State kid, Parsons, for now.
Paul.
Yeah, I picked your guy to win Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's a great question. I mean, Parsons has proven he's unbelievable. I think right now slightly a little bit higher than Surtain, but I think they're both going to be very good pros.
Couple comments. Tony Sanchez and Paul are asking. I'm sorry, Tony Sanchez and Beelan are asking, "What's with the mask?" So
holding up a bank.
Oh, Bobby Blackjack. You ready for this comment? I'm very interested to hear, because if I was in Notre Dame, this would be my reaction too. But he's saying F Brian Kelly. And we're going to get into that in a second. But I agree with him, and I'm not a Notre Dame fan. All right. Oh, Kenny, real quick. Parsons or Surtain?
I see more Parsons, so I'm going to go Parsons, only because I see more of him.
Okay. Two more. Real quick. Who's going to be the bigger winner? Like, who's going to win more in the end? Lincoln Riley at USC or effing Brian Kelly at LSU, sis?
I think Lincoln Riley will, because it's a weaker league. SEC's all over that Pac-12 league, whatever it is. Yeah.
Beelan's saying it's a good move. I can explain. He needs to hop on, Kenny. He's got to get in touch with Mr. Kirkpatrick. Paul Rosen.
Okay, yeah, my phone's on silent, so I'll check. Bring him on. We'll bring him on for baseball. Baseball would be a good one to talk with Beelan.
Paul Rosen.
Yeah, I agree with Sis. I think the league and the schedule that US have will make it easy for him to be immediately successful. I think Kelly is a good coach, but it's going to be difficult in that conference.
Kenny K.
I was texting Beelan back. What was the question?
Who's gonna win bigger? Who's gonna be the bigger winner? Riley USC, Kelly LSU.
Oh yeah. I did hear that question. I'm sorry. I'm going to say Kelly at LSU. I think I'm LSU is where the big boys are, and I think Kelly's going to do a good job there.
Okay. And my last question, and when I say it, I'm gonna say, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, Baylor. Sis, will there be a 2-team loss in the college football playoff this year?
All I'm going to say about that tonight is there's a real good outside chance, depending on what happens in the Michigan-Iowa game, depending on what happens in the Baylor-Oklahoma State game. That's my answer.
Okay. Paul?
I would say yes. Let's make it short and sweet, and we'll get into it in a little bit.
Kenny?
There's a chance because Iowa scares me. If I was a Michigan fan, Iowa scares me this Saturday.
Okay. But my question is, so I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll say there's a chance. Do you want me to tell you who's the chance? The only 2-team lost team will be Alabama.
Okay. Not Baylor as Big 12 champs?
No.
Okay. All right.
Not if you got Michigan and Cincinnati undefeated. I can't do it.
Michigan's not undefeated.
No, I'm saying Michigan Big Ten champs.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it. I can't put Baylor in there.
Okay. All right. Those are the quick hitters for the night.
All right. Let's move right into Mr. Sis's. What is on Sis's mind tonight? I kind of got an idea, and I think it's going to be a good one as always. So the floor is yours, Mr. Siciliano.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about this coaches carousel, whatever you want to call it, merry-go-round. And for the audience, just feel free to chime in. First of all, the loyalty on these coaches to their players is just it's unbelievable. Ed Oregon's leaving LSU, fine. Kelly's leaving Notre Dame. Riley's leaving Oklahoma. Now, my thing is with these guys is this. Let's use Chip Kelly for an example. You coached there 12 years. You broke every Notre Dame record, yada, yada, yada. And you text your players that you're leaving, and then you realize what you did, and you call a get-together at 7:30 in the morning for a 5-minute discussion why you're leaving with your team. I totally think that's pathetic. I don't think he wins at LSU myself. That league is too competitive for him. Riley ran out of town to go to USC because he wants no part of the SEC. That's just my opinion. Now, today I seen not only the quarterbacks leaving, the tight ends leaving, the wide receiver, they're all running to USC. See, again, I never liked that you can jump to another team and you don't have to sit out. That, to me, ruined college football, okay? And again, it's always the money behind it that drives these people to do this. I'm going to start with Paul. What are your thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Brian Kelly. I've been a Notre Dame fan for many, many, many years.
By the way, Paul, real quick, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just checked. They said it's kind of breaking news, and a couple of people are reporting it, that Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator, is in negotiations to become the new head coach. So there is some reports out there tonight that he is going to be the new head coach at Notre Dame.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that was going to impact anything you were going to say.
Well, in a way it was, but it's interesting because let me just talk about Kelly first, and then I'll go into what I was going to say. Kelly took over a program at Notre Dame that was broken, all right? So from the perspective of they got the guy that they wanted, Kelly said he wanted to go there. There was no other college program that he wanted to go, but to Notre Dame, all right? He turned that whole, if you want to call it an organization, he turned that whole organization around. They had bad facilities. Their recruiting was horrible. Obviously, the standards, we all know the standards of Notre Dame University is very high, probably higher than many other successful college programs. He turned everything around. And actually, next year's recruiting class is number 4, and the one in 2023 is number 2 in the country. So obviously, it doesn't say how many will jump ship and maybe go to LSU following him. But the fact of the matter is that Kelly did an amazing recruiting job, and he got players to come into the system. And for the last 12 years, as Sis said, he set records, most wins, fantastic. Jack Swarbrick, ironically, had said that he was going to take his time and at the field to see who they were going to get in terms of a coach. I think he's now jumping at Freeman because Freeman was very respected as a first-year defensive coach at Notre Dame. That's number one. Number two, I had read that Kelly was trying to recruit him and the offensive coach, Tommy Reeves, who was a former quarterback at Notre Dame, to go down with him to LSU. So I think they felt pressure to get this guy, Marcus Freeman, who was also very successful at Cincinnati, to stay. So they rewarded him. The ironic thing is, Swarbrick, as the athletic administrator, was thought to be looking for someone with a little more head coach experience, rather than having someone that may have been a defensive coordinator for a few years. So that's interesting that they're jumping on that right now. But I think he probably feels a lot of the players that are recruiting, and don't forget, December 15th is signing day. So we're talking 2 weeks away. So I'm not totally shocked that he's wanting to get Freeman in to show his recruiting class, hey, this is the coach that now is going forward. He's been there. The defensive team has been amazing since he's been here this year. They've dominated at times, unlike many other defenses that Notre Dame has had recently. And I think all those reasons now are probably the reasons why he's selecting Freeman in this quickly a period of time.
Guys, Carson saying, what's up, guys? Have a great show. Thank you, Carson. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, buddy. Check Carson out on Ticket Time YT on Twitch.
Kenny, your thoughts on Kelly and Riley after what Paul just said? What do you
know?
Same
what
question.
You know what? I'll answer it a little different. Like, hey, listen, if they want to go, they go. There is no loyalty. But what I loved about Notre Dame is when the AD came straight out. Because, listen, Kenny's been saying it. Is there a shot that they get to the playoffs? Yeah, there is a shot. And I loved how he said he will not coach that team. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to Luke Fickell, and I hope Beelin's listening to me, and I'm telling him right now, you're either going to tell me right now and you're going to sign that you're coaching this team, because if you're not even coaching Saturday in the game. That's the thing that we're going to do, because you cannot have a coach, okay, like Paul saying, I got to worry about recruiting here and I'm going to game plan there. No, you pick. So I don't care what Fickell did. If he wants to talk to Notre Dame and he wants to talk to this one, I'm looking him in the eye and you're going to sign that paper. You're here next year going forward. If you're not, you will not coach in the championship game. You will not coach in the playoffs if you make it. I don't care. That's what you're doing. I want somebody committed. And I commend what that Notre Dame guy said is right out of the gate saying Kelly will not coach that team. And that's what should happen, because you quit on those kids, you leave those kids, you're not part of that program anymore. Go to hell to LSU. He's not going to win in LSU. He's not playing.
No,
I
he's
saw
not.
him already play the Bamas and those teams. He got woodshedded. He's going to get woodshedded again. And sis, I just want to show you. I'm going to send you later. But there was video of the actual him talking. There was a player. They sent it to Barstool, and I saw it today on Twitter. They actually recorded his speech. His speech was something like 3 minutes to the team.
Yep.
When he walked out, nobody clapped. Nobody stood up. Pin drops. And I love it. He left those kids. And you know what? I told you, I would, for the bowl, or I hope Notre Dame gets in. And you know what? He has no part of that bowl game now.
Yep. Kenny, your thoughts?
Paul nailed it with Notre Dame, the coach, and Kurt just nailed his talk. So I'm just going to make mine short and sweet. I think it's totally unfair that Lane Kiffin can go to USC right after they lose a big game against Oklahoma State when he's got a contract with Oklahoma. Brian Kelly can go to LSU while he's under contract.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. Brian Kelly can go to LSU. You can, I can go to you, Kurt. Kurt, I'm going to give you $20 million to coach Notre Dame, but you got to leave Alabama tomorrow. That shouldn't be like that. It's not like that in the NFL. You can't go get Urban Meyer right now to go coach college football game. He can't leave because he's under contract.
But let me ask you,
you sign a contract, you should respect it until the season's over. It's why there's an off season. You're getting these coaches to leave right before, like you just said, Notre Dame's in the playoff run still. They're not out of it.
I have a question for you guys.
You get 2 or 3 of these teams to lose in the top 4 or 5. Notre Dame's in.
I was going to go with that. I have a question. Play the scenario out. Cincinnati loses. Oklahoma State loses. Does Notre Dame, sitting there, jump ahead of them into 4th?
Yep.
Or does the committee look at no coach Notre Dame and say, wait a minute, 2-loss Ohio State, who had been up as number 2 for a while, are they eligible now, or should we consider them to go into 4th, even though they have 2 losses? What do you think of that scenario?
I think
Notre Dame is going to get in. Notre Dame makes money, so Notre Dame is going to get in. And you know what? Stick it to Brian Kelly's. You know what? When they do get in, like the AD said, you're not going to coach this team. Let them. Let Freeman or someone else take over the team and win a big bowl game, and stick it to Brian Kelly.
Listen,
I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Does for Oklahoma, does Venable, the assistant from Clemson, Paul, does he get a shot at being the head coach there?
He's a great coach. I mean, it would not be a terrible decision if they wound up picking him as head coach. I think that's a very, very good choice. I really do.
You know why I like that, sis? Because think about it. What does Oklahoma not have? Defense in forever, right?
Exactly.
So you know what? You get him. He runs your defense. You could get this. You could find a young offensive coordinator from somewhere to kind of run the same system. I mean, maybe I don't know if Riley's going to take his quarterback coach, but you could find someone that runs similar system. A young guy, make him the OC. Draft defense. I love him, man. I think Venerables is going to be an unbelievable. I think he's the best defensive coordinator in the country. I think that would be a home run, sis.
Kenny?
I think it'll be a home run, too. Kurt nailed it. Lincoln Riley left for a reason. He knows his Oklahoma. There's no defense there in Oklahoma. He ain't going to be able to compete in the SEC. It's going to take a few years.
Wow.
Get a different style coach in there. Learn how to play with the big boys in the SEC, and you'll be contending for not only SEC titles, you'll be contending for national championship titles in the future if you get a defensive-minded head coach like Venables.
Paul, 2 teams over the weekend. Paul, does Michigan beat Iowa, yes or no? And does Oklahoma State beat Baylor? We'll go with Michigan, Iowa first.
I'm going to say yes.
Michigan beats them. All right.
Michigan
what about
beats,
Oklahoma?
yeah.
Oklahoma State, Baylor.
I'm going to also say Oklahoma State's going to win.
Kenny?
Michigan scares the heck out of me this week. I think Iowa is going to get the upset. Remember, Iowa was ranked number 2 and number 3 this year for a long time. And they just won the Big Ten West. So don't sleep on Iowa after Michigan getting that huge win last week finally against Ohio State. You might have a letdown by Michigan.
Kenny, couple comments. Oh, I'm sorry, sis, real quick. Ricky's saying no to the Michigan. I believe he's saying Michigan will not win. Tony Sanchez is saying if you guys were offered the amount of money Kelly was offered, you guys would be gone too. It's all about the money. You can make, sorry to say that, but it's about the money.
Of course it is.
Beelan's picking Baylor over Oklahoma State.
That means bet all your money on Oklahoma State.
Ricky's saying no to both.
Oklahoma State beats Baylor, though, sis. Oklahoma State's for real.
Okay.
They're the only team in the Big 12 that plays defense.
Let's go to Kurt. If Beelan's saying take Baylor, take out a loan and bet Oklahoma State.
Yeah, backup quarterback for Baylor. They've been a nice story. They'll play defense. That guy, their coach is a good defensive coach. He'll keep them in the game, but Oklahoma State's defense, again, Beelan, defense wins, right? Here, I just got to say this, and I hope Beelan does come on, because all I heard was Ohio State, look at the 3 receivers they got. Oh, my God, they got the quarterback Stroud. Look at this. They put up points and points and points and points. What did Michigan do, sis? Michigan's defense shut them down. Michigan ran the ball down their throat. Ohio State's sitting out. Run the ball defense. It will always win.
Beelan needs to stick with the Pop Warner teams. I agree. Okay, Kurt. Michigan State or Iowa, Kurt?
I'm going to go Michigan.
Baylor, Oklahoma State.
Beelan saying Oklahoma State just beat them by 7 points 2 months ago. LOL. With Baylor's starting quarterback, Beelan. Oklahoma State again.
Okay. Paul?
Same question?
Huh?
What's the question?
Yeah, I think you did answer that question. You said Michigan, correct? Okay.
Michigan and Oklahoma State.
Give me the score of the Alabama-Georgia game.
Oh. I'll give you a score. I won't tell you who will win, though.
That's fine.
Because
I'm going to write it down.
Okay. 24-20.
Okay, Kenny? If you want to just give a score, that's fine without giving a team.
No, I'm going to give you a prediction, a team and a prediction. I'm going to say Georgia 21.
Okay.
Alabama 23.
Okay. Kurt?
Ricky's saying Georgia 37-31.
Right.
I'm going to go Georgia, but let me finish my statement, sis, okay?
Okay.
Georgia 27, Alabama 24. But remember, this game, it's not Georgia Stadium, but it's still in the Georgia Dome, right? So it's home field, yada yada. 27-24. Alabama plays right there, in Alabama, because of this close game, jumps. We'll get into it in a second, but Alabama's performance gets them in the playoffs. Now, Beelan saying, oh, my fault, Kurt. 34 for 45, 394, and 2 touchdowns. Not Stroud's fault. His defense is bad. If anybody watched that game, nope. That defense completely shut them down. Shut them down.
Sis, I got a question for you. It's a quick one. It's a quickie. Has Georgia faced any offense close to Alabama's offense?
Well, no, they have. That's gonna. I was telling my sister that today. They have not faced a spread offense.
Nope.
That's going to give them headaches. And to Georgia's defense, Alabama's down to their third and last scholarship back. So all the other backs on this team are not on scholarship. So you might have Joey Smith come out of nowhere and play his butt off. We're going to see. But if number 74 on Alabama, the offensive right tackle, can get a little help with a tight end chipping or doing whatever he needs to do, and they give Bryce Young time, Bryce Young will slice up that secondary. My prediction is Bama 37-31. And the last question of the night, we'll start with Mr. Kirkpatrick. Right now, who wins the Heisman Trophy?
Bryce Young.
Paul?
Yeah, without a doubt, Bryce Young.
Kurt?
Bryce Young won it. Hey, first off, sis, what a great game. My boys, your boys, that Iron Bowl. What an unbelievable.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
I tell you, that Auburn defense played their hearts out, man. And it just shows you why in the SEC when people go, yeah, but you have this loss and that loss, that. Do you realize how hard it is to beat Auburn in Auburn? Like, people keep saying this team in a listen, Cincinnati, seriously, probably be under 500 in that conference. But getting back to that, he won the Heisman. That Bryce Young won that Heisman on that drive. 93 yards, down 7 in the Iron Bowl. Heisman Trophy winner.
A lot of people have made the same statement that you just did. They said he won it in that game.
Sis, but, real quick, Ricky's saying that's why I said a high-scoring affair, and Beelan's saying Georgia 34, Alabama 14.
Tell Beelan I got a Pop Warner team that needs a head coach.
I want to add on to what's on Sis's mind since we're on college football, if you're done, Sis.
Yes, I am.
So I know, Kurt, you broke the news that Freeman is in negotiations, but I want to ask you guys, who would be your top 3 choices for Notre Dame coach? If you were the athletic director at Notre Dame, who would you approach? Like, who would be your top 3? And go from 3 to 1. I'm going to do mine first, then I'll go Kurt, Sis, and Paul last since he's the Notre Dame
Real
fan.
quick, Marcus Freeman is expected to be named, and Tommy Rees is expected to inform Notre Dame his intentions to stay with the Irish as the offensive coordinator.
Nice.
Well, my choices would have been, and nobody's really talked about 2 of these guys. My number 3 choice would have been Kirk Ferentz from Iowa. Love what he does at Iowa. Put him in a bigger setting at Notre Dame. I think that style of play, I think, would be perfect in Notre Dame. Luke Fickell at Cincinnati would be my number 2 choice. But my number 1 choice, and I swear I can't believe no one's calling for this guy, Pat Fitzgerald at Notre.
I'm going to show you my notes, Kenny. I'm going to show you my notes. That's so funny. But
Kurt, who would be your picks?
You know what? I'm not. See, again, the whole Fickell thing. To me, I mean, again, what have you done with the big boys? Like I saw you against Georgia last time you didn't beat them. So, I need somebody who's gonna. What haven't they done there? Win a national title. Kelly did a nice job. I'm not going to say that, but he didn't win, right? He got destroyed every time he got in the playoffs. So, you know what? I don't know. You know what? I like this defensive coordinator. Be a defensive team, right? Be a defensive team. I like this guy. Listen, my first choice, Venables from Clemson. I mean, all I keep hearing is Georgia. Georgia got Clemson shut him out, right? Venables shut him out. They threw a pick 6. Otherwise, he gave up no points. He's the best defensive coordinator in football. That would have been my number 1 choice. I'm not taking Luke Fickell. He doesn't belong at a Notre Dame. He doesn't. I'm sorry. He doesn't, in my opinion. Just like I'm not taking UTSA guys and all that kind of stuff. Venables, Freeman. Listen, honestly, I don't like him, Kenny. Wait, I don't like him. Urban Meyer.
Okay.
I don't like him,
Pat Fitzgerald personally because Northwestern doesn't get the recruits, and that guy coaches the heck out of his players.
Beelan's saying Fitzgerald is average. Dude went 3-7 this year.
Yeah, with team that you can't recruit. They don't get the recruits. You got to have a certain GPA to get in there. Yeah. Northwestern's a school that's got high standards.
It's either that or a shopping bag full of money.
Who would be your top choice, Sis, if you were an athletic director?
Is it 3-2-1 or 1-2-3?
3-2-1. Who would be a third? Who would be a second? Who would be a top choice?
Okay. Kurt Valenti, Charlie Alamo, and Paul Rosen. It would be my three.
I like that.
But on a serious note, I got to go with my boy, Mr. Valenti. And again, it's my opinion. There's only two names in this conversation. Mr. Verbo from Clemson and Mr. Freeman. That's it. There's nobody else in the country that can run those teams.
Let's hear from the Notre Dame fan. Let's see who his three choices are as athletic director.
Hey, Freeman would have been my third choice, and only because he was a first-year defensive coordinator, that would have been a little iffy. But I'm very happy that they are keeping him. My second would have been Fickle. I think he's proven the last few years that he can coach with the big guys, and I think step up to Notre Dame would have really proven how good he was. My third choice was, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you could read it on the camera, you probably can't, but it was Pat Fitzgerald. Okay, so great minds think alike, Penny. I think I agree with you. He can't recruit at a school like Northwestern that he certainly can recruit the kind of players that he probably could never have at Northwestern. And I think he would have proven if, in fact, he would have come to Notre Dame. I want to throw one other name out that, in doing my research, that would have been interesting. They played them this year. They destroyed them on the road. But this guy has consistently been a winner. Paul Chryst at Wisconsin. They constantly have strong, powerful defensive and offensive lines. You guys know that's how you win so many games. And the fact of the matter is, a guy like that, proven he can coach in the Big Ten. I think a guy like that would have been a sleeper pick if they had looked outside of Notre Dame. But that was just the name that I threw out.
Anything? That was my thing to add to Sis's mind. Anybody else want to add anything to their minds?
Good job, Sis.
No, I'm good, Sis. I mean, I think again it's the hot topics, and I think we hit it. But Sis, I am going to send you that video because it was interesting of watching the Kelly listening to the Kelly speech.
That's again from we've both been coaches. Again, I coached on a college level, whatever. That turned my stomach. You couldn't give those kids more than 3 or 5 minutes of your time. Who are you?
Yeah.
Right.
Who are you? I think what's his name? Bobby Blackjack nailed it.
Right.
Couldn't use the language, but I hope he loses every game over there.
Right. And let's be honest, like, all right, Cincinnati, but like, he's not insane. Like he acts like he's Nick Saban. Like, what does he want?
Did you see him coming on a private jet?
Like, what does he want?
Did you see that? Like coming off the plane and like
same thing with Riley. What have they won?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. Riley goes in. See, Riley is even smarter. See, because Riley knows. Riley's played the LSUs and the Alabamas, and that offense, his offense went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out before he knew it was 41-3, right? Brian Kelly is, I don't know what he's thinking. He's going to go. Brian Kelly won't last there 3 years in LSU. No way. There's no way. No way. With that conference, no way. No way. Because remember, LSU expects him to be like 12-1 and 13-0. He's not going to be able to be 8-4 in LSU.
They're going to run him out of town in 3 to 4 years.
Coach O just won a national title and he's gone.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
All right. They're going to run him out of town in 3
right out of
4
town.
years. Yep.
All right, boys. I think we're going to shift gears to some Major League Baseball. Invited Mr. Beelan to come talk baseball with us. He's one of our baseball guys.
Expert. He's an expert. He's a baseball expert. Get it straight.
Mr. Beelan, how are we doing tonight, Johnny?
I'm having a headache here. Kurt talk about basically 3 teams in the whole SEC and nobody else.
Here we go. Here we go.
We should just throw every team out of the SEC and just have Clemson and Clemson.
Real quick, sis, agree or disagree with me? Our whole argument all year was at 12 o'clock on Saturday, right? Beelan's go 5 wide, spread it out, throw it all over the yard. And I got Michigan, who's basically lining up and saying, here comes power right.
Kurt, how guys, back me up on this. How do you let the quarterback get blamed for that when the defense can't stop the run?
Because it's not how you win.
The quarterback's full.
Because listen, Paul Rosen just said it. We know how to win. Offensive line, defensive line. That's how you win in this weather. That's how you win in postseasons. That's how you win championships. Ohio State, let's do the gimmick and all that. Michigan lined right up, ran right down their throat. Michigan's in, Ohio State's out. It's the same thing. It's the same. It's always the same thing. We watched Lincoln Riley. We were just talking about Lincoln Riley. Here he comes. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Caleb Wood. He's bringing all the ponies, right? All the ponies to the trip. He gets to the college playoff, 61-3, 47-10. It's the same thing. Stop running that offense.
Hey, Kurt, that Saturday weather would have been a perfect Woody Hayes Ohio State game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Like we're saying here, like let's be totally realistic. Everybody
he must have been rolling in his grave.
Kenny's the one that's talking about Iowa. All week he keeps telling me Iowa. You know what? Iowa is built to beat Michigan more than Ohio State. Ohio State's not built to beat a Michigan team, but Iowa could because Iowa's going to do the same thing.
They beat them like 6 years in a row, and then all of a sudden, 1 year, all of a sudden, it's like they're not the same team anymore.
No, they're not.
No. Get out of here.
Let's
I gotta have my.
Wait a minute. I want to ask Beelan 2 questions there, if you don't mind. Mr. Bealy, my buddy. Michigan, Iowa. Who wins, pal?
Michigan.
Oklahoma State, Baylor.
Baylor.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Real quick, Kenny, I know you want to get to baseball. Henry Zimanoff, and I guess this is part of your question. Will the Mets win the offseason soon because they got Max Scherzer?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. You can answer that. You're the Mets fan.
Uncle Stevie will just buy those championships. It's okay.
As a Mets fan in New York for years, for my whole life, I saw the Yankees do it, so I'm not embarrassed if it happens. I know you're a Braves fan. Congratulations! It's congratulations for you guys to win the World Series. All kudos to you. But
Paul, you're a Mets fan?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking you off Facebook.
I blame my father.
I'm teasing you.
That's all right. I've heard a lot worse.
I like, honestly, being a Braves fan, I like the Scherzer signing. I just think you overpaid him by at least $7-8 million.
No doubt.
Yeah.
For a guy who's going to be 38 years old and he's going to be pitching into his 40s, he's not going to pitch like that when he's 40 years old. I'm sorry.
It's a second year. After the second year, he can opt out.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a 3-year with the after the second year he can opt out. If the Mets can get 2 really strong good years with him and DeGrom, take my chances.
And you know what the problem is with both of those guys?
Injuries.
They can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
right.
Without question. I can't disagree. That's the
Let's do this since there's 5 of us here. Kurt, I know you're not really you don't really have a team, but you've been pushing on the Mets. But Paul's the Mets fan, so I'll go around, and if there's anybody in the audience out there that has a team, you can play along with their team. But I'm just going to go around one by one. We'll start with the Mets since they made the biggest splash so far, Paul. And, your overall thoughts, are the Mets going to be done in free agency now? Are they going to make more moves? Their additions are Scherzer, Starling Marte, and Mark Canha. They lost Noah Syndergaard, and Stroman's a free agent. He hasn't signed yet.
Yeah, Stroman just signed with the Cubs.
Stroman just signed with the Cubs.
Cubs.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on the Mets overall, Paul? We Kurt's quick hitters. He asked if they were a World Series contender, and you surprisingly said you don't think so.
Listen. every year it's like the line from The Godfather 3. Every time you think you want to get out, they bring you back in. And just when you don't want to be a fan, you just don't want to get drawn into that enticement, that fool's gold. And they go out and they do and make all these deals or sign all these free agents, and the next thing you know, they don't respond and they're injured, and it's another wasted season. Listen, the guy, the owner Cohen, can throw not just millions but billions of dollars in to these players. They certainly need more bullpen help. Their bullpen lost a good lefty, Luke, to the Angels. They certainly need back end help with their pitching staff. I hope they continue to look for more starting pitching and a couple of more arms in the bullpen, because I think they'd be fooling themselves if they think right now they can settle and not move forward and get a couple of other players. And if it means trading some of the players that were there, they didn't win with them, hey, then trade them and see if you can get something else that's going to help them. But so far, the fact that they could get Scherzer and bring in some of these other players, you got to be excited as a Mets fan at this point anyway.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to Kurt. I'm going to give him a surprise team. I'm going to give Kurt the Texas Rangers and the American League West.
Kenny, real quick, I want to read a comment from our good friend Henry Zimenoff. In the future, the Colorado Rockies will shock the baseball world by winning the World Series with the team that can contend for a title. The way things look now, though, they lost John Gray. We signed three to four pitchers. What else can they do to improve? Yapping away at the owner. I did see a rumor about Chris Bryant and the Rockies. I don't know how true it is, but I did see that yesterday, that he's a sleeper for that team.
I think they just got to build their pitching up. I know it's a hard place to pitch, but start the pitchers young and just have a bullpen. I think that's what they got to do. They got a nice little young nucleus there hitting wise. They always have the bats. And Charlie Blackmon's getting up there in age. Well, trade him while you can get something for him. He'd be a perfect spot for somewhere like the Braves or the Mets or somebody like that. You don't think so?
I'm good.
All right, Kurt, let's go Rangers, Kurt. The Rangers made a splash. $500 million in their middle infield now. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager signed. They also signed who Henry Zimenoff just mentioned, John Gray. Mariners made a splash and signed Robbie Ray, the American League Cy Young Award winner. Any of these two teams catch up to the Astros with these moves? And the Angels got Syndergaard. So any of those three teams closer to the Astros, or are they still way behind the Astros?
I mean, I just don't know. Again, it gets back to the Ohtani and Trout and Rendon, and I'm so sick of hearing this about Trout this, Trout that, Trout that. The guy never wins. So now you got Syndergaard. Now you got pitching help. I mean, when is he going to get to the postseason? Why are they not? I mean, you look at these teams. How could, with that lineup, and now you get a couple more pitching, why shouldn't they? But are they contenders? Are the Rangers contenders? Mariners? I would say no. But it was a good move for the Rangers. I mean, they're going to be better.
There's a rumor that do I think it's going to happen? No, but you never know in baseball. Clayton Kershaw, the other team they said besides the Dodgers is the Rangers. Now they get Clayton Kershaw in there. That changes things. That changes things a little bit. Okay. Let's go to Sis with the American League East. The Yankees, Sis, not doing anything. You told me today they signed Gary Sanchez again to one.
Yeah, again, to me, first of all, just me, it's football season. I could care less about baseball season right now. But yeah, they're going to give Sanchez another chance because he's Cashman's boy. Excuse me. There's a rumor Frazier's going to the Cubs. That's another rumor, which is no surprise. They gave him a shot, like Kurt was saying, we were talking, to play the outfield last year, and guess what? He's like Jones on the Giants. Just can't cut it. I think the Yankees are going to be in the same boat. They're going to win their 90-something games to whatever. They're going to make the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round. So, one thing I want to say about the Mets, though, and Kurt will vouch for this. I started watching them this year when the Yankees were really doing nothing. And the problem with the Mets is even signing Scherzer for all this cash and having DeGrom, they lose the teams constantly that they should beat. The Mariners, Cincinnati, the Nationals. You should beat
Pirates.
these teams. Pirates. You should beat these teams every single time you play them. And that's why I don't think they're going to be a championship or whatever you guys were talking about before. Now, until you can not shellac, I'll use a better word. Until you can beat these teams, you're not going to be a contender. I'm sorry, you're not.
You know what, sis? Like with the Mets too. I'll add, Paul, you and sis and I and Kurt. I don't think you remember too much, John. Baseball in the '80s or even really early '90s. Pitchers went complete games.
Yeah.
You ain't seeing that anymore these days. They're on strict pitch count. It's getting less and less and less.
Kenny, that's a great point, Kenny. It's 5 and out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. You need a bullpen.
And the money these guys are making to pitch 5 innings, you got to be kidding.
But it's different though. Like Scherzer is a guy who's not going to pitch 5,
right? Especially in the postseason.
He's going to pitch like 7,
He'll
8 innings.
He'll pitch 7.
But going back, Paul, going back to his contract, he has a player option for that last year.
Right.
He's not denying $43 million. So you're basically paying him 3 years because he is not denying that.
Yeah, no.
So
question, you're right about that.
Being 40 years old and you think he's going to do what you'd be very optimistic about it. But, man, come on. He hasn't been healthy he hasn't been healthy like all year. And I think like they said, like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
He's been hurt every year. Same thing with DeGrom. DeGrom gets a blister on his finger and he's out for 3 months.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's like,
it's a crapshoot. I totally agree. It's you're trying to roll the dice to see what can come up, and you hope you don't get snake eyes with these two guys. If they can get 28 to 32 starts out of both of them, you're talking about a third of the season. And if they give them good hitting behind them and decent fielding and back them, hopefully you win, say 45 out of those 60 games, which gives you just about half of schedule to get to the playoffs.
And thinking about it this way, real quick, they have the highest payroll in baseball now. Okay, this year by like 15 million, and they might not even be done yet. And then next year, you have to pay Alonso.
Yeah,
Alonso's going to get 30 million plus next year.
But you know what? But John, I'll say this, Kenny. This is my only thing about that. But you know what? You mentioned Scherzer and DeGrom, but you know what? Pitching is just like quarterbacks. I look at it and say, here's the deal. I have 3 years to get one title, right? And I'm sorry, but you're right. DeGrom, there is injury risk with those guys. But if I could get a postseason of Scherzer and DeGrom, that's just like, I'm sorry. Me as a person. Wait, hold on. Let me answer. Me. I want in the postseason. Give me Peyton Manning at 40 years old. Give me Brady at 44. You know what? Give me Big Ben at 40. Give me Tom Brady. Give me Aaron. Give me those guys even older, because I know when it's on the line. I don't want the Jalen Hurts stinks. Dak Prescott stinks. All these guys, Kyler Murray's, they're not winners. Those guys are going to win. They're big game pitching. So when pressure's on the line, I'm sorry. There might not be two pitchers that I want in baseball than Scherzer and DeGrom. With the money on the line.
And this is a good point that I saw on Twitter. You want to know DeGrom's record in the playoffs?
Well, he hasn't pitched many games.
They made the playoffs one time.
But he pitched twice they did. He pitched 3 times. He's 0-2, and his ERA is like 7 in the playoffs. Okay? So for a guy to have him pitch a regular season to come to the playoffs, you know what he sounds like? He sounds like Kershaw. He's not pitch a great regular season. You come to the playoffs, you go choking. So
Dylan,
at the
you're
end
wrong.
of the day, what are you paying for?
DeGrom pitched against the Dodgers, against the Cubs, and had great outings in 2015. I don't think that's correct.
I got to check his stats.
Yeah, please.
Well, I was
Pull
going to
it
mention,
up. Pull
while
those
you're checking
stats
those
up.
stats, Kurt, I was going to bring up the Yankees, sis, real
Okay.
quick, what I wanted to do with the Yankees. Everybody's getting on Cashman for his lack of moves. He's letting all these guys go. Well, I'm getting on Cashman for letting people go.
Jacob
got
DeGrom.
Aaron
Jake,
Hicks.
wait, Kenny. I got to correct it because Mr. Beelan, I don't know what he's looking at. His career postseason record is 3-1 with a 2.88 ERA. He in 2015, he won 2-0, 1-0. Oh, he was 0-1. Bop. So, yeah, 3-1 with a 2.88 ERA.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Now, I was just going to add one more thing to baseball, and then we'll move on to football. Cashman, it's time for this guy to go. He resigns Gary Sanchez, but lets Clint Frazier walk for nothing, and you know what? I got to back up Kurt Valenti because I was wrong. And go on the air, trade Torres for a pitcher, trade Frazier for a pitcher.
Yep.
And I said no. On the air, I said no. Build these guys. These guys are young. This is your future. Now Cashman just let Frazier walk. Cubs scooped them up. He'll be a 280, 300 hitter with about 15 to 18 home runs and be a solid player for the Cubs this year.
Kenny,
No
can I
pressure
ask,
out there in Chicago. Up and coming young team. He'll be a star on that team. Thank you, Brian Cashman, for keeping Aaron Hicks again this year and making me sick with that guy who's going to bat 215 and Gary Sanchez will bat 180. Thank you.
Well, that was going to be my question to you and to Sis about Sanchez. I mean, as an outsider, obviously not a Yankee fan, I don't see what is the enticement of this Gary Sanchez.
Because he's Cashman's boys.
That's it.
And the Steinbrenners are not going to get rid of Cashman because Cashman controls Boone. It's that simple.
He nailed it.
It's
He
cut
nailed
and
it. He's
dry.
right, 100%. Cashman has got something about Hicks, about
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Sanchez.
him, Kenny. Yep.
He's got his own
He'll
click.
be right back in the outfield this year, Mr. Hicks. Yep.
Kenny, real
He'll
quick,
play-
Mark
he'll play 40
Calderio.
games and be hurt.
Mark
Don't get me
Calderio
started
saying
with
good
him.
evening. Kenny.
Good evening, Mark.
You know what, sis? I heard this the other day, and I forgot what they were talking about. I want to say it was about football, but it's the
Right.
same thing with baseball. Like they say, when you see the mistake, get the mistake right out of the way, correct it, and go forward, right? You look at the Arizona Cardinals. They took Josh Rosen. But you know what they did the next year? They didn't look and say, well, we took a quarterback. They said, he's a problem. We made a mistake. Let's get Kyler Murray. Nobody talks about it. What Sis is saying with the Yankees is, listen, nobody's saying you're going to make a great move. But Gary, like Sis is saying, he's his boy. It's like Cashman saying we have to win with my guys. Because Gary Sanchez stinks. Like, just get rid of him. Just get a catcher that works, and then it's not going to worry about it.
Kurt, going back to Josh Rosen thing, like, I think it's kind of like he's like such a scapegoat because when he got drafted, there was nobody on the Cardinals. Then the following year, they come up, they get Kyler Murray, they get Hopkins, they get who's the running back that they got over there?
Chase Edmonds.
They traded David Johnson. Who they traded him for? They traded for
Hopkins. David
Hopkins.
Johnson for Hopkins.
Hopkins. So they got Chandler Jones back. Then the next year they got J.J. Watt. So like at the end of the day, like you're putting puzzle pieces around guys. Rosen was just failed everywhere he went.
Well, Josh Rosen played in Miami. He was terrible, and he actually played. He played last week against Miami. Wait, he played the other day for Tampa Bay. I think he was 0 for 2 with a pick, and he didn't even throw it over the line of scrimmage. He stinks.
No, I think it was Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Exactly.
And let me just Let me
Well,
just
look at that.
clarify one thing.
Atlanta, no Julio Jones, no Calvin Ridley, no running back.
Would you
You're
take
putting
him?
on
Would you
teams who are
take him, John?
failing.
Would you take Josh Rosen?
No.
Okay.
But I'm just he would fail. But if you put him on the Cardinals now with the roster, he might actually be pretty decent.
No.
Yeah. Because he has.
Let's segue right into NFL since we're talking Josh Rosen. Unless you guys got something else, baseball. I was just a little free agent.
I just want to clarify.
Enough baseball. Let's move it on.
Yeah, some of our audience members were requesting some baseball talk, sis, so we had to throw it in there for them.
That's fine.
I just want to clarify. No relation to Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lucky you, Paul.
Kurt, let's start NFL off with a question I got for the four of you. All right. I'm going to go, the way I see it on my screen is Kurt, Paul, Beelan, Sis.
Okay.
Kurt, who's the AFC champion? Who's your AFC favorite and NFC favorite? Let's do both. Simple, quick hitter questions. Start NFL.
Tampa Bay, NFC. AFC. Wow. It's crazy I'm going to say this.
Go ahead and say it.
The system is back. The New England Patriots.
Oh,
All right. So you got Tampa Bay and New England, and it'd be Brady against Belichick in the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yep.
Paul.
ratings bonanza would that be?
Yep.
Highest watched Super Bowl of all time.
What do you got, Paul?
I'm going to stick with my preseason selections. I'm going to go with the Packers, and as crazy as this sounds, I'm going to still stick with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, that is crazy.
All right, Sis, you're up.
I'm only kidding you. I'm going to go right along from what I've seen with Mr. Valenti. Right now, it's New England and Tampa Bay. But before you move on, I want anybody on the panel in the audience to answer this. I don't want to hear, old school coaches, whatever the case may be. These four coaches all have the same thing in common. My question is, why? Bill Parcells, Tom Landry, Belichick, and Mike Ditka. What do all those guys have in common? Why were they so successful?
They're all 60 plus.
Anybody? No, let's be realistic here. Mm-hmm. All Kurt?
They were
defensive minded.
They were respected.
They all ran the show. Nobody told them what to do. Nobody said analytics, whatever it is.
Analytics.
Analytics.
You're right.
You're not playing Tommy today.
Yep.
You're playing Stevie. No. The best players were put on the field. That's why these guys were so successful.
You know what, Sis?
You're right, Sis. You're
Just
right.
wanted to throw that in there.
Kurt, you and I were on the show. We did with a couple of the guys. We had Stephen Baker on, and we talked about Bill Parcells, and he said that Bill Parcells, he didn't care who you were. You could have been Lawrence Taylor.
Yep.
You weren't putting up.
He was right in your face. He was
next
right
person
in your
up. Goodbye.
Bill Sims, Taylor. There was no favorites on the Giants.
And you know what? As much as we say Belichick did, and listen, we know Belichick's a cheater and he did all that, but yeah, you're totally right. Like, he don't care. I remember, who was it? Was it Chandler Jones or one of those guys was complaining like, I better be the highest paid. He brought him in. He shipped him right to Cleveland. Shipped them right out. And you know what? That's why they don't have problems there. They don't.
Right.
They don't.
Right. That's why Beelan would never be a good coach. He'd play favorites. I know it.
Just I wanted
just busting your chops. I love you. What happened, Kenny?
Who are your contenders who's your favorites in the AFC and NFC?
I just said I'm going with Kurt. It's New England and Tampa Bay. I was on Buffalo, but Beelan kind of opened my eyes a little bit. He's right. They have no running game.
None.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do in the wintertime? Kurt always says that you got to run the ball and play defense coming up with the cold weather. If you don't have those two combinations, my friend, you're not going anywhere.
Nope.
So I'm off the Bills bandwagon.
And Beelan, who's representing?
Chiefs, Cardinals.
Okay.
When Cardinals are healthy, tough team. And they got defense.
AFC and NFC, I think it's Packers. If they can get home field advantage in Lambeau this year, I think it's going to be because they have a running game. They got Dillon behind Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and AFC
point.
Tough.
And their defense is very good this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, I'd hate to say it. I'm gonna go Homer here. I'm gonna go Ravens. I mean, I think they can get their veterans running the ball with Tavius Murray and Devontae Freeman.
You hear that?
Do I
Kurt?
believe in Lamar Jackson? No, but
He looked
I don't believe in
scary
anybody
the
else
other
in that
night,
AFC
man.
neither.
Yeah, he looked scary the other night.
I will say this, Beelan, they use the formula. They do. It's just the problem is come postseason, you're going to, like, if God forbid they got to play New England in a playoff game, Lamar Jackson's going to be calling for mommy to explain to him what's going on because he's going to be boop and running and there's going to be corners coming, safeties coming, and he's going to have to throw the ball that game, and we all know what happens when he has to throw in the postseason. He can't. So, but they got the formula to do it. They do.
It's not only that; it's going to be cold. He's going to need his mittens on.
Right, he's going to need mittens exactly. So
the guy is a 41-10 career record in 4 seasons.
Postseason. What's his postseason record, John? Postseason.
Whatever, it is what it is. You only have one game though.
One game he played?
No, I'm saying you only get one game in the playoffs.
Well,
if you lose, you're out. So it is what it is. I mean,
41-10 means nothing if you can't win in the postseason.
Okay.
What does it mean?
Who's a better coach, Jim Harbaugh right now or John Harbaugh?
That's a good one.
I will say this. I think
John Harbaugh because he's consistent.
You know what, Paul? I'm going to answer it like this. I think John Harbaugh, I give him credit because he's he fully went to and said, I know what Lamar Jackson can do and what he can't do. And he puts him in basically a high school and college offense. But I think Jim, I give him credit for that.
And Kurt, you all you guys have seen these videos. You see when he talks to Lamar and he goes, "Do you want to go for it?" "Yeah, coach, let's go for it."
Yeah, oh yeah,
He puts it in and he goes, "You want to go for it?" You go for it.
Yeah.
Man,
I give you
Gives him the
that.
confidence.
But you know what?
That.
That's why I give him credit, and I give, as much as I don't think he's a great coach, Kingsbury, because, and that's why I think again with Lamar Jackson, it was smart for them to say if Kyler Murray's going to succeed, I gotta put Kyler Murray with his coach and run that offense. Listen, can Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray's a better quarterback and better thrower than Lamar Jackson, so he could probably play in a West Coast offense a little bit and stuff like that. But what Harbaugh does is basically Harbaugh puts those guys, we talk about this all the week, Beelan and Sis, and we talk about it in the high school level. You can't just go and get a quarterback, and it was like, Dwayne Haskins. He came from that fraudulent Urban Meyer system, and they put him in Washington and said, run a pro offense. He had no idea what to do.
No clue.
No clue. And put him in. He can't take a snap under center. That's stupid on the Washington's part.
Look at Harbaugh and what he has done with that team over the years. They had a great running game. They got Flacco. They became a passing team.
Yep.
Flacco went bye-bye. He brought in Jackson, and they changed their whole offense around the players. So it's not like I'm going to take my philosophy and squeeze it into the players. I'm going to take the players' strength and move around what they do best, and that's a good coach.
Kenny, I got one for you, Kenny. And you know what? With the Bears, because the other guy we always talk about is Justin Fields. And I want to get Matt and those guys on from Rocky Mountain, because if they still say we want to get, we still want Justin Fields, we better get tested. Because, listen.
We all knew on this show. Anyway,
we all know, but I'm saying what they should
Ohio
do.
State quarterbacks.
What they got to do, Kenny, what the Bears got to do, and that's why it's not crazy when they say, Ryan Day from Ohio State, or even Dan Mullen, because that's what Dan Mullen runs, that scammy system. He had Tebow in Florida, then he had Dak in Mississippi State, and then he would be perfect, because you are not going to teach Justin Fields, put him under center and read a defense. He's not going to do it. You better run the Ohio State gimmick with him. And
let me ask you guys this one question that's popped into my head the other day, and it just popped up again. So all of our teams right now, well, pretty much the Jets and Giants are pretty much trash, right? But
right.
Your Broncos haven't been really good since like what, 2015?
Yep.
Right? Okay. So would you take currently right now Lamar Jackson and his winning seasons every year, 10-year wins that he has every year for the next 10 years, and he does mediocre in the playoffs, or would you rather have these crappy years every year with your team? I think everybody would say that they'd rather have a guy like, if he loses every round in the playoffs, you still as a fan taking 10 wins every year is like, it's like the holy grail.
We talked about that a few weeks ago on the show, that exact question. Would you rather have a team that's consistently winning 10, 11, maybe 12, maybe 1 year they win 13, go all the way to the championship game, may not win, but at least they're winning, and it gives you hope as a fan, as opposed to 6 or 7 lousy years, and then maybe 1 year you wind up getting lucky 1 year.
The reason why I bring it up is because Aaron Rodgers. I had this thing with Kurt. He hasn't won in 10 years. But he's a great guy, but he falls short every year.
I could ask your question. I have no feeling. That's a great question. Wait, I'm going to ask the panel, and I'll start with Sis, because I'm going to ask you a question a different way. If you take a 10-year window, okay, 10-year window, and you say to me, you can have Lamar Jackson, where every year you're going to win 10 and 11 games. But I'm telling you now, you will never win the Super Bowl. But every year, you will be in it. You will make the playoffs, but you will never win a Super Bowl. But every year for those 10 years, you'll be in it. Or I'll give you a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and for 3 of those years, you will be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Okay? You will be the favorite. For the other 7, you're not going to be good. But for those 3, you will be the favorites. You're probably going to get to 2 and win 1. I am hands down taking those 3. I'll worry about the other 7, but give me my championship window right now. Sis, what would you take?
Again, I would take the same. The thing I still can't get over is like last year. If Rodgers runs into the end zone, they win that game. I still cannot believe he didn't run in for a touchdown.
If Russell Wilson would have handed the ball off, they would have been champions too.
I get all of that.
Answer my question. Paul, what would you take? What scenario? Sorry,
one second. Real quick to Beelan. Now, Beelan, was that coaching on Carroll's part?
Yep.
Beelan,
no. So this is my thing.
No excuses.
No excuses.
You got the best back in the NFL. Why are you throwing the ball?
Well, no, true. But on the other hand, when you have a guy like Russell Wilson, you should just call that play off right away and be like, I'm running the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Are you kidding me?
But why is the head coach not doing that?
I would call it off.
But why is the head coach not doing that?
Maybe they saw something that we didn't.
Oh, you're saying Russell Wilson should have said no way. Okay.
Yeah, Russell. They do it all. If Peyton Manning back in the Broncos goes up, he's like, call. He's calling a different play.
I'm not going to disagree there. But I would have
a guy of that caliber should know, hands down, should be calling their own shots. There's a selective guys in the NFL that should be calling their own shots.
So let's get back to my question.
I would have fired him the next day.
Let's get back to my question.
Yeah.
Paul, what would you do? The 3 years, you're Super Bowl contenders. The other 7, you're not. Or 10 years of you're there, but you're not a championship contender.
All right. In a 10-year period, I mean, we'll use the Giants 10 years. They won a championship 10 years ago. They celebrated it this year. The next 10 years have been horrible. If you're telling me out of those 10 years, every 3 years or so, we're going to be a contender and maybe twice get to the Super Bowl and win one, yeah, I'll take that every year. But I don't want to win or get to a championship game or maybe win one or two and then for the next 7, 8 years be lousy. No, I mean, I'm going to remember the championships from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. But it's like, what have you done for me lately? So I want the opportunities, but I can't go 7, 8 years without having competent, competitive teams. It just bothers the hell out of me.
Kenny, what about you? Oh, go ahead, Beelan. What do you got?
I'm taking the 10 years because you know why? Because as a Jets fan, perfect example, right? As a Giants fan, is that within the first 3-4 weeks, I'm already talking about the next year's draft.
But wait a minute, Beelan, how old are you? Beelan, your answer should be easy. How old are you?
35.
All right, you're 35. If you could sign up for a Super Bowl next year and never win a game the rest of your life, you should sign up for that as a Jet fan.
100%. But it's not guaranteed to win. But so I'd rather take consistent because you can go that 1 year and then the other 9 years I go 2-15 every year. And I'm not doing that. I'd rather have consistency. And then if I can get into the playoffs and somehow squeak and be hot or whatever I need to go and do, I'm going to go and do it. I'm not every year as a Jets fan, the 4th or 5th week into the season, I'm talking about next year's draft. I'm all over Twitter right now talking about who we're drafting the top 5 picks next year.
Yeah.
And the season's not even over.
Kenny, what about you?
Kurt, you too.
As a Giants fan,
about getting new quarterbacks.
As a Giants fan, you sign me up 3 years to be a favorite for the Super Bowl, I'm taking it. Yeah. I'm sorry. If I'm a Steelers fan, for example, with a winning record every year, sign me up for the 10 years.
Guys, by the way,
it depends on what fan I am, and I'm getting older there in age too. I might not see another Super Bowl. All joking aside, sign me up for 3 years. I'll take a favorite in the Super Bowl for those 3 years.
Guys, Amari's saying, "What's up, fellas? # go blue."
What's up, Amari? Amari's
happy, man.
Amari was getting me rolling on Saturday with all his posts with his people.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Holy moly.
Kurt, let's do this. We got a few minutes left. Let's do Broncos and Giants and the show tonight. Broncos, I want to do a quick Q&A with you. I think that'll be a nice little Bronco mania.
Okay.
I'll start it off real quick. The Broncos had a big win against the Chargers. You're a game behind. Now you're facing the big bad Chiefs on Sunday night. Okay? My quick question to you, in my Q&A, can the Broncos win the AFC West? And do you think they will win the AFC West?
Can they win the AFC West? Yes. I mean, they got the best defense still in the league, in the division. Will they? Again, I don't have the confidence in the quarterback and the head coach. So right now I'm going to say no. Do they have the talent? Yeah, they got the talent. But I don't know if they don't have the quarterback and they don't have the head coach. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. Beelan, you got a question for Kurt?
No.
Sis, you?
Yeah, do I have a question for Kurt? Did he hear the rumor that maybe Matt Nagy from the Bears might be in Denver next year?
Listen, that better not be a rumor.
I love you, brother. No, I'm teasing. Yeah, I do have a question for Kurt. Going into Sunday night's game, okay, your secondary is playing lights out right now. And personally, Kansas City's good 1 week. They're not good. So with Denver going in there, you guys win that, you'll be in first place, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I really think that's exactly what's going to happen on Sunday night.
I will say this, sis.
Wait. You won't be in. You might be tied for first place depending on what happens.
But I'm saying the way it goes with the division, they were technically they would control their own destiny if they win.
Right. But my whole point is your secondary is playing like crazy right now. Crazy. And that's big.
Sis, what people don't remember is a little more than about a year ago, Vic Fangio on a Sunday night, we went in there and I want to say we lost 22-16, but he showed everybody the blueprint. That's what what's his name from Bowles from Tampa Bay ran. That's the defense they ran.
Yep.
Keep it back. Right. Nothing over the top. Everything underneath. Go ahead, run
cover 2.
So that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the Fangio defense. That's what we're going to see. And you know what we're going to see? How tough is Kansas City? Because what Pat Shurmur should do, and again, if I'm the head coach, I'm telling Pat Shurmur, I don't care down and distance. You are running the ball, and running the ball right at them with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. I'm not putting it in Teddy Bridgewater's hands. We're not going 4 wide. We're going to line up and punch them right in the mouth, and we're going to see how tough Kansas City is.
Yeah.
That's what it should
I
be.
agree.
Kurt, what you need to do is have them use the same exact defense that the Giants used against Kansas City.
Yep, right.
Show them that video, and that should be the game plan on defense. Because we should have won that game, and it wasn't the defense's fault that we lost that game, but they certainly held them in check in that game.
Boy, you got anything for Kurt?
I was going to say that statement, and I thought I heard something about a Drew Lock sighting. So I don't know if you've heard that at all, Kurt.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be honest. Very disappointed in him. He did not look good, threw a pick. And again, I firmly believe, I think it has to happen. I think it will happen. And I know it's going to happen. The whole quarterback room in Denver has to get wiped out at the end of the year. Bridgewater and Locke will both be gone. Now, Locke was never given, we talked about before, Locke, especially under Shurmur, if you look at him as a rookie with Scangarella in that West Coast offense, he looked awesome. He looked dynamic. Shurmur with him, just a bad mix. So I could see like a Drew Lock going to Pittsburgh. I mean, he would beat out Dwayne Haskins. I could see like Drew Lock in the league could still be a starting quarterback. Bridgewater next year should be doing this, holding the clipboard, holding it, and hey, he'd be the best backup in the league, and that's what he is.
Guys,
but
I had this conversation with Kurt today. Teddy Bridgewater's throwing 70% on the year. Okay, 70% of the year is 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Okay, they like to run the ball. He's doing his job. Man.
We would take him on the Giants
so bad. This guy is doing his job.
Okay, so we're gonna ask.
John,
this
guys, you know what gets me with you and all the Rocky Mountain sports guys, most of them anyway. What gets me is John.
70%.
John, you nailed it. You nailed it, John, when you said 5 weeks into the season, I'm looking for next year's draft. Paul, Sis, and I, after 5 games, we're looking at each other's draft. You're going into Kansas City with a chance to be in first place, and you want everybody
and still
gone.
talking about the quarterback for next year.
All right, so one more time, I'm gonna ask this question real quick, and then I'm done with Denver Briggsy My Mania. I'll start with Sis. Sis, 2-part question. Would you want Teddy Bridgewater as your quarterback for the next 6 years, and can you win a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater? Go ahead, Sis.
No,
okay,
absolutely not.
Paul Rosen, would you want him as your quarterback for the next 6 years, and can you win a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, Kenny Kirkpatrick, would you want Teddy Bridgewater for the next 6 years, and would you win a Super Bowl with him?
I would not want him for the next 6 years. Can I win a Super Bowl with him? Maybe.
Okay, Mr. Beelan, do you want him? Amari said nope real quick. Do you want him for the next 6 years? And can you win a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater?
I have Zach Wilson, so I'm going to say no, but he's a solid QB for teams.
Well, I don't want to hear, but I want to win a Super. I want to win a. We got a Super Bowl roster. I want to win a Super Bowl. I don't want to play footsie with 7 wins. Nobody on the panel said they want him. So why am I wrong?
You really think your team is a Super Bowl caliber team?
If we got Aaron Rodgers, we would be the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
If the Jacksonville Jaguars got him, they would be a Super Bowl contender.
No.
Well, let's not go that far.
By the way, timeout. By the way, how's Mr. Lawrence looking this year, Kurt?
Hey, I never said I said by the 3rd year he would be a top 5 quarterback in football.
Trash.
And he will.
Trash.
I think I may be wrong, guys. I may be wrong, but I think you were quoted on an old show, and I have to look, that you said the Jaguars would be year 1 5 games better than they were last year. They still can get there, but I'm pretty sure you said that.
Okay. I'd rather take Trevor Lawrence than Teddy Bridgewater, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Kurt, let's get your prediction on Sunday's game, and then we'll finish off with Giants tonight.
My prediction is, again, listen, I'm always going to pick them to win. I mean, hey, why not? I've seen teams, just like you said, the Giants did it. The Chargers did it. I saw the Buccaneers just last year punch them right in the mouth. And you know what? That's the kind of football team we are. Line up, punch them in the mouth. I just don't have the confidence that the coaching staff's going to do it. But listen, we held them to 22 last year. I think Denver beats them. I think Denver beats them 27-24.
I'm going to go around the same score. I think the Chiefs get you 27-24.
Okay.
Feeling.
Chiefs 34-14. I'm going to hear Kurt bitch for the next 5 days after that. And you had a way better defense last year than you do this year. I'm sorry.
And Sis.
Denver 27-21.
And Paul, you decide.
Chiefs 30, Broncos 17.
There you go, Paul.
Keeping it real.
The Chiefs are on all cylinders right now. They're on all cylinders. And Surtain, if he's going to be covering Tyreek Hill, his shoes are going to be on fire.
But we're not gonna cover man for man. We got the two safeties deep. No, there'll be no Tyreek Hill 80-yard touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
But I will say,
I want to put a bet on that.
I picked the Broncos to go to the playoffs. So.
All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick, we got a couple minutes. You want to do a couple minutes of Giants?
Yeah, let's do Giants.
By the way, Kenny, real quick, just Kurt, you know what happens when you put two guys over the top?
What's that?
You're not confident in your defense.
But basically it's a poker game and saying that, you know what, Andy Reid, you don't have the you know what to sit there and hand it off to Edwards-Helaire and this guy because you won't run it. You'll screw it up. And that's what he's been doing because the Chiefs should. What's the rule? You see two high safeties, you run. They're not going to. It's a poker game. That's all it is.
Last thing about Broncos, what's the odds of Kurt turning his phone off on Sunday for the game?
Oh, you won't hear from him. That's even money.
Just check Twitter during the games.
I want to do this with Paul. Paul's got some great notes for this week. Paul, I may leave a couple of the Dave Gettleman questions out if we're running out of time, but we'll see how the time goes. And we'll hold that off for next week if we have to.
Yeah, that's fine.
Paul, this is a good one. I read this. I like this a lot. And I added something to Paul for the first time on this. There was a first miracle of the Meadowlands. I'm going to put in parentheses. The Pisarcik fumbled. Herm Edwards ran it in for the touchdown. There was a second miracle of the Meadowlands, the Deshaun Jackson return punt. On this Sunday, the Giants were not going to allow the Eagles to come turn this into a third miracle. The Giants went on and held on to beat the Eagles 13-7. Giants defense once again bent but didn't break by intercepting Jalen Hurts 3 times and recovering a fumble by the Giants killer, Boston Scott, which is funny because Paul was telling me how Boston Scott kills us all the time. And then 5 minutes later, he fumbled. So way to put the, as Sis would say, the Maloika on him.
The Maloika.
But let's start with the offense. This was a transition week after Garrett was let go. Play calling taken over by a collaboration of Freddie Kitchens and other coaches, apparently. This question. Did you see any difference in the Giants' offense with Freddie Kitchens? Yes, no, or was it the same bad offense?
You know, to be honest, there was a couple of wrinkles, but basically it was the same stuff. So
I agree, it was the same stuff. And Paul?
Yeah, I think basically it was a short week. They didn't have enough time to put in anything more than what they did. Obviously, depending on what happens this week with Daniel Jones's injury, but maybe it'll be a little different on Sunday.
And Kurt Beal, I'm going to skip you guys on these couple questions, but I'll ask you some of these other couple questions that we got. I'm going to agree it was the same offense. You know, there was 1 or 2 plays I was like, oh, this looks good, and then it was the same old offense, in my opinion. But I'm going to give him a break. It was the first week there, so we'll see what we got in the upcoming weeks with Freddie Kitchens. Question number 2, Sis. I'll start again with you. Did Daniel Jones look more comfortable in this game compared to previous games with Garrett calling the plays?
Considering he didn't fumble, I'm going to say, yeah, he did. And on a real quick note, late today, Judge said there's a possibility that he might play. But, yeah, he looked a little more comfortable to me. I still don't like the rolling out and, to the left and right. He's got to get better with that. But, yeah,
I'm gonna agree. He did look a little more comfortable, but it's got to be more consistent going forward.
Yeah.
Paul, how about you?
Yeah, I think as he continues to see, let me put it this way. I think if his comfortableness with Kitchens calling the plays now, as opposed to Garrett, he's gonna have a much better flow in terms of getting the ball out to his receivers. I think they're gonna use some plays that Garrett, for whatever reason, chose not to, throwing deep, and for some reason, that was not part of Garrett's game plan at all. So I think he'll be more comfortable as the season goes on.
Okay, I'm going to add this. I'm going to add Beelan and Kurt. I'm going to have you guys answer this question. I'll start with Kurt. Saquon Barkley looked a little healthier Sunday, Kurt. Do you think the Giants should continue to use Barkley as the main back or rotate him with Devontae Booker?
Main back.
Beelan.
I think he looked good on one play, and the rest of the game he was terrible.
Got it. Yep.
But other than that, we're just going back real quick for 1 second. The biggest thing you guys should be happy about last week's game is that Daniel Jones was comfortable. That was a big thing with the offensive line.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Good point.
And Sis, how about you? What do you think the Giants should do?
I think Beelan just nailed it on the head. I'd like to see a healthier Booker, nothing against Barkley, but take away the 30-yard run. He had 8 yards rushing the ball. He still, in my opinion, as a former player, coach, whatever, he's tentative, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. He's just not the same Barkley. He's not.
No.
I'm going to say rotate him a little more. What I'm not seeing is them throwing the checkdowns to him, and that's where he's dangerous. That's where he's dangerous when he catches the ball out of the backfield.
I agree. You're right there. Yep.
And Paul.
Yeah, I would rotate them. I mean, as big a fan as I am of Barkley, the fact is that he's just not showing it most of the game when he's in there. And Booker, well, I mean, we can't take anything away from Booker. Hell, with the same offensive line, he was doing extremely well in the games that Barkley was out. So
he's a hard runner.
Yeah.
I agree. Yep. He's a hard runner.
And Paul, I'm putting asterisks by the Dave Gettleman questions. Again, I apologize, but we'll get to these next week because they're really good questions. So Paul continues now and says the Eagles have come into the game winning 3 out of 4 with Hurts playing well. Sis, what do you think Patrick Graham did to take away the Eagles' effectiveness Sunday?
More pressure on Hurts.
I agree 1,000,000%.
He manned up and he blitzed. That's what you need to do against a good quarterback. And same thing with Brady. You heat Brady up again. He had 44 years old, man. He's not going to hurt you. You can't sit back. Go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off, sis.
No, I'm just saying you can't sit back with these quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, and let them pick you apart. You can't do that.
And I agree 1,000,000% with you. We were chatting, sis, and they did that the one series, and what happened? They marched right down the field.
Exactly.
Hurts ran. Yeah. No spy on him, no pressure. They scored. Then they went back to their scheme, and it worked.
Yep.
Paul, how about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. They put pressure on him. I think they also felt his arm couldn't beat them. They allowed them to run the ball, which they did. They've been running effectively the last few games, the Eagles. And as it turned out, the secondary played probably the best game of the year, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, they did.
Got one more good question here from Paul, and then he's got a little Philly versus New York that I know Kurt and Beelan are going to like a lot along with us. So, Sis, which of these is the best good that the Giants had? The secondary only allowing 124 yards? The offensive line, yes, the offensive line allowing 0 sacks. Graham's play calling or ending the both halves with defensive stands.
I would have to give it to Graham's play calling this week, this particular game. He called a great game.
These are all good. These are all good. I'm going to say the offensive line allowing 0 sacks would be mine. And Paul?
I'm going to say the secondary because they had no Logan Ryan. They had injuries after Dory went out, Darnell Holmes went out, and they just kept it up. I'll tell you, McKinney is going to be a star. I got to give Gettleman credit on that one, even though everyone knew that he was going to be a good player. But this kid covers incredibly, and he's going to be a real big player for the Giants.
He's a Bama boy. What do you expect? I had to throw that in there.
All right, Kurt, we're going to end this with Philly versus New York, and then I'm just going to read something real quick about the Dolphins. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, could start with you, Kurt. That's what I love about Paul's segment. He always comes on with a little twist on who we played. Philly versus New York, Kurt. Cheesesteak or New York pizza? I know where you're going.
New York pizza.
I'm with you. New York pizza. Beelan.
Yeah, New York pizza.
Sis.
Is it a Philly cheesesteak?
Yes.
I've had it. Philly cheesesteak.
And Paul.
Come on, forget about it. New York pizza, of course.
Kurt, Liberty Bell or the Empire State Building?
Empire State Building.
I think I'm going Liberty Bell because I don't know. I think I'm not afraid of heights, but standing on, if I was in the Empire State Building looking down, I think I would faint. So I'm going to go Liberty Bell. Beelan.
I'm going to go Liberty Bell. It's more historical.
Sis.
Rocky Balboa, baby. Liberty Bell.
And Paul.
All right, I'm in the New York state of mind. I'm going to go with Empire State Building.
All right, well, I'm going to shift all the way down to your number 9 because of what Sis just said. Sis, right. Rocky or Cosmo Kramer?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. I'm going to still stick with my boy Rocky Balboa.
I want to hear your best Yo Adrian.
From who, me?
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian!
I can't do it.
Next question.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Rocky.
I'm not asking you for your best Adrian.
No.
We heard the best Yo Adrian ever.
Yeah. I gotta clip that.
Yeah. Put it as maybe your ringtone for Sid.
Rocky, man.
Yeah, Rocky for me and Paul.
I got to go with Rocky.
All right, I got a couple more here. Kurt, Broad Street or Broadway?
Broadway.
I'm Broadway. Feeling.
Nah, Broad Street, man. Broad Street, no way.
Broad Street in Clifton because it's right by my house.
You're Broad Street in Clifton. Sis.
Broadway.
And Paul.
Of course, Broadway.
All right, Kurt, the nicknames, City of Brotherly Love for Philadelphia or the Big Apple, New York City?
Oh, Big Apple.
I'm with you, the Big Apple. Beelan.
Yeah, Big Apple.
Sis?
Yeah, that's easy. Big Apple.
And Paul?
Big Apple, but is there a more misnomer name than the City of Brotherly Love?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one's good. This is good for Kurt right here. I don't know which way he's going to go here. Soft pretzel or dirty water dog?
Oh, soft pretzel.
I'm going dirty water dog.
Soft pretzel all the way.
Yeah, dirty water dog. There's nothing. That's what makes everything good is the water. The hot dogs, the bagels, the pizza dough, everything.
Yep. And Sis?
JJ's in Branchbrook Park, the dirty water dogs in Newark with the hot onions.
Nice. And Paul?
Of course, dirty water dogs. Best.
Okay, we got Hall & Oates versus Billy Joel, Kurt.
Hall & Oates.
I'm going Billy Joel. Feeling.
Yeah, I'm Billy Joel.
Sis.
Yeah, I like them both, but I'll take Mr. Joel. Yep.
Guys, real quick, Lynn Marie saying good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Lynn.
He's real quiet tonight because the Eagles are
Oh,
about to
yeah.
beat us, Dave,
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
ironic
That's all
right
right.
now.
She's not chiming in tonight, Paul, about her Eagles.
Yeah, I know.
'Cause I text her,
She
fly Eagles
she
fly.
she could have been if Rager didn't drop 2 passes.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right.
If.
And Paul, where are you going? Which
Oh, my man, Billy Joel.
All right, and then comedians, Kurt. Kevin Hart or Jerry Seinfeld?
Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm going Kevin Hart. Feeling.
it's so tough because it's two different types of like
Eras, too.
funniness. But I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna go Seinfeld.
Sis.
No, I love Kevin Hart. I like Jerry Steinfeld, but if I had to pick, yeah, I love Kevin Hart. He's the best. Yep.
And Paul.
They're both great. I love them, but I'm going to go with Jerry.
And the last one he has here, Kurt. Philly Freedom or New York, New York?
Oh, New York, New York. Come on.
Yeah.
It's got to be New York, New York. Feeling.
Cross the board, yeah.
Yeah, Paul, New York, New York.
Of course. Start spreading the news.
Yep.
All right, Kurt, and I'm just going to read real quick. Paul's Dolphins got a little Dolphins here for our upcoming week. I want to read what he has here. Luby and I, meaning Paul, are heading down to Alligator Alley this weekend as we are attending the Giants-Dolphins game on Sunday. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations. Hope they win for you there in sunny Miami.
Let's
The
hope
Dolphins
so.
are 5-7, and it is a tale of two seasons so far this season. They lost 7 out of the first 8, but have won 4 straight games. It'll be a coaching matchup of old colleagues as Joe Judge goes against Brian Flores from their Patriots days. The Dolphins are a big physical type of team on defense and a largely conservative team on offense. The Dolphins have been sparked by their rookies, Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle, who Sis knows very well. Waddle has 77 receptions already this season, Sis. Sunday's game was to his 16th NFL start since 2020. His stats for 16 games, 67% completion ratio, 21 touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, 11 INTs, and an 80.5 pass rate. Question for Sis to end the show. If you were able to select the quarterback, Sis, to start a franchise, who would you choose? A, Tua, B, Jalen Hurts, or C, Mac Jones?
Oh, that's easy. Mac Jones.
Before the season started, Sis, and we didn't know what Mac Jones was doing, would that still be your answer, Mac Jones? Just that.
No, if I didn't know that, you're asking me a different question now.
Yeah, I'm definitely asking you a different question.
Who's the head coach?
What do you mean?
That's a big point. Who's the head coach with these guys?
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay.
Like, are you taking Freddie Kitchens with Mac Jones?
Right. I got you. Yeah.
You know.
I'm going to say Tua.
Okay.
Over Hurts.
All right. Kurt, sorry, I didn't realize the time. I know.
I'm not. Oh, you're asking me that question?
We can all answer it if we want. I was for Sis, but you can answer it if you want.
That's Mac Jones. I would take Mac Jones. Tua would be my backup, and Jalen Hurts, I'd play him at Clifton High School for a 7-on-7 like scrimmage, but I would not want him as my quarterback. No.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong about Mac. Looks like I was wrong about Mac Jones, so I would have said Tua would have been my guy, but going forward now, looks like Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
I probably should have phrased the question.
Paul, I got those other questions written down for next week, so we'll incorporate it into next week's.
Let's do this, Kenny. Let's end with final thoughts. I want to go first. All right, I'll go first. I'll be short. 2 things. First off, I know I busted chops all week, all year with Beelan, with you guys, with Cincinnati. And if Cincinnati doesn't get in, I'm going to have fun for a day or two, and I'll be all over you guys. But looking now, how much more fun am I going to have if they get that 4th spot and they got to go to Georgia and they're a 17.5-point underdog and they get woodshedded and boat raced and everything out of that, and it's 49-3, And when Kenny will start saying, well, there was a flood in Cincinnati and they couldn't get to the practice field. And so I'm going to have more fun. In a way, I want to see him get in because I just want to see him get absolutely manhandled. But
no, Beelan, I know I'll wait till my final thoughts and give you my.
But I will watch the college football playoff early, but I'm going to start getting ready about 3:00 because all over Denver radio this week, they've said it this way. It's the biggest game in 6 years. 6 years. That's over almost 2,000 days. It's the biggest Bronco game in 6 years. And we're going to see it. Hey, Teddy Bridgewater, bud, you might have to put up 40. I mean, you shouldn't because Vic, you want your job, you should shut him down. But if they don't, hey, Teddy, put up 40, babe. Let's go. We're going to see what we got. Broncos make a statement. Everything's on the line. Everything's in front of them. Sunday night, I will be fired up. Don't even bother texting because I'll just check the Twitter. But I am fired up. This defense is going to harass Mahomes, and the Broncos show for real what they are. Mr. Sis, your final thoughts.
It's too long to get into tonight, but if you really are a student of the game, okay, Auburn's coach, I know he's young and first years, whatever, he made 4 crucial coaching mistakes in that game where he could have beat Bama. And my closing thoughts tonight will be the difference in the Georgia-Alabama game will be Nick Saban. That's my closing thoughts.
Mr. Beelan, your final thoughts. By the way, Mr. Beelan, thank you for coming by on Thanksgiving. Very nice seeing you, hanging with me and Sis. Appreciate you coming down twice.
Where's my man? Is he sleeping?
Yeah, he's been out since 7:30. But hashtag where's Kenny?
Yeah, hashtag where's Kenny. We're gonna get that up tomorrow.
Kurt never sent me the Zoom info. He never sent me the Zoom info.
Oh man, no. Final thoughts. Whatever. Listen. Championship weekend for college football.
Yep.
It's gonna be huge. A lot of good games. This is where you're gonna see big difference makers, right? This is if Michigan loses to Iowa, what happens with that? If Baylor beats Oklahoma State, there could be a little bit mix up there, whatever. If Bama beats Georgia and vice versa, like there's a lot of scenarios that's gonna happen. But it's gonna start early. So you have the early games that come along and it's just gonna get better and better throughout the day.
Hey, there's some games Friday night, Beelan. 2 games Friday night.
Yeah, Oregon, Utah, we know who's going to win that.
Oregon, Utah, and then UTSA, Western Kentucky, which is a nice little under-the-radar game.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
It's a nice little game.
But Sunday, Kurt, I hope you guys win. Chiefs are on all cylinders right now. It's tough. Someone's got to shut them down. If you can shut them down, great. But I'm waiting for Saturday, man. Saturday's the big thing right now.
Okay. Mr. Rosen, final thoughts.
I want to give a shout out, Kurt, to your Auburn quarterback on Saturday. Playing
TJ Finley
was amazing. And I'll tell you, that pass he threw to the tight end was one of the incredible passes of the season. And they should have all the credit to be in that game. And they could have won that game. So I just
should have went for 2.
Yes, they should have, Beelan. Yes, they should have.
And that's what I was talking about with my coaching mistakes.
Yep.
You have nothing to lose.
Yep, and they're the better team. Alabama's the better team. Go for 2. One play, you get it, you win.
That's it.
So, but going down to Miami this weekend, we're looking forward to that. Saturday, we're driving down, so I may not be able to watch some of the games, but I'll certainly be thinking of you guys. But Sunday, seeing the Giants play for the first time in a couple of years down here, I'm looking for them to hopefully build on last week's game and not have any kind of letdown. I mean, this is a team that the Dolphins, they should be able to be competitive with. I think it may be a close game, but certainly there's no reason why they can't come out and win this game and start some type of little winning streak here. So give Giant fans hope. Hopefully they play well, and let's see what happens on Sunday. And
Are you going to the game?
yeah.
God bless you. That's good. God bless you. Good.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
good. Very good.
Yes, have fun,
And-
Paul. And I'm sorry, Paul.
No. And I was going to say, good luck on Sunday to your Broncos. And
You too, Paul. You too.
thank you.
And again, have fun over there. And Mr. Kirkpatrick, you got the final closing thoughts.
All right, well, let's do this a couple ways here. Let's I want to thank Beelan and Paul for coming on this evening, and
My
what makes
pleasure.
makes the shows fun when we get everybody on, and we get as we have a nice little
Round
following,
table.
and I enjoy it a lot. I will say I want to remind everybody out there listening, and anybody who is listening, I believe Tuesday you're doing a special All In on High School Sports show, right, Kurt?
Yes, we are doing. We're gonna have Bergen.
Mr. Gibbs.
We're gonna have
Yep.
Bergen Catholic on at 7:30, and then 8:15 we're gonna do a tribute show for Coach Drew Gibbs. So
Yep.
Did
Milton
Ramapo win
Bergen
that game?
Catholic was number 6 team in the country, right?
yeah, they might even be higher, Kenny.
Might even be higher now, right?
They might
Yeah,
be
Hey,
I don't
higher.
believe
Kenny,
the season, but
Kenny, will Kurt, will someone bring up that Kurt did not pick Bergen Catholic to win that game?
yeah, I'm right there with him.
Beelan, I was a man of my words. I said you kept me to my word. I said
I
I
might
had
have
to
to
do
come
it.
by on Tuesday.
Hey, you might have to.
Yeah,
You might have to pop the celebration with Vito.
I'm gonna take the towel, make sure the sweat's coming down his face, and clean them up.
and speaking of Tuesday, I unfortunately can't invite. Well, Paul's down in Florida if he wanted to come up, but I'm going to make a little suggestion that if Cincinnati makes it to the college football playoff, that I make the trip up. Beelan was asking, "Where's Kenny?" I think we have a little party between the four of us, and we watch that game live.
That's New Year's Eve.
I say Kurt has it at his house and charges admission.
Oh
Go.
my God! You guys
No,
wouldn't.
that's my final thoughts. Is let's
Wait,
see. What
I'm going to be honest.
We'll
Wait,
make some
sis,
plans.
Sis and Paul, I got to say this. Kenny and Beelan would not want to watch that game with me. They would not want to watch that.
No,
Oh, they
no,
wouldn't want to watch that game.
no,
with me.
no.
Wait,
I
my
agree
final
with that.
thought would be this. Right here, I got it.
If I was there and
This would
Cincinnati
be right
was
next
winning,
to Kurt because he would be eating that live on the show. Cincinnati, baby.
Not going to happen.
Kenny, if we were there and Kurt and Cincinnati's winning, Kurt actually might call the cops on us and say there's trespassers.
Get you out of the house. Get you the hell out of the house.
That's
we
good.
would not be friends with him no more.
That's a good one.
All right,
All
boys.
joking aside, great show, guys. Enjoyed it. And,
We'll
you
see
know,
you guys
us
tomorrow.
guys.
Wits and wages.
Wits
That's
and
right.
wagers.
Wits
And
and
Paul,
wages, of course.
enjoy the game on Sunday. Looking forward to seeing some pictures.
Absolutely.
See you guys later.
Doing the whole tailgating thing too.
Have a good night.